Greetings, my friend.
Goodbye, honey.
Honey.
Floating in the vast ocean of the universe.
The artificial satellite is like an island in the sky.
This is a capable base, General, run by capable men.
Stupid!
Take over the controls while I wake up the baby.
Are you scared, son?
Quiet and lonely out here.
Monochrome2 with our hosts.
They're a nuisance, I agree, but pretty harmless.
Hello and welcome once again to Monochrome2? I'm not sure what to call it yet. Yes, I am DLD, one of your hosts, otherwise known as Manic Monochrome. Should I go with Manic Monochrome? I don't know.
I like Manic Monochrome.
Oh, MonoDrew, that was it.
MonoDrew. Oh, that's even better.
I keep forgetting my bloody names, despite the fact I've spent the last few weeks doing nothing but edit and make YouTube videos with that moniker. Anyway, I'm MonoDrew, and you are?
I am the ever-lovable Matthew, or Cambrian, depending on what you're watching, I suppose.
We don't know what we're doing anymore, if we ever did.
Oh, but today we have a special show, I suppose, or just a show.
Might I inquire to what that is?
Well, it was an idea that we kind of suggested a while back, but we kind of veered away from for some time because there's a lot to it. The show theme this time is going to be that of the slasher genre movie. Because we're both kind of big fans of it, and there's not a lot out there at the moment when you think about it.
I mean,
not anymore. 80s, it was everywhere.
Oh well, that's kind of where it really kicked off. I mean, you know better than me. Am I right in sort of thinking it kind of started with Halloween?
Oh, in a big way, yeah. Halloween derived a lot of its origins from earlier movies, one of which being an English one, which we're bound to mention at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the term slasher horror movie came from the advent of 1978 Halloween. But I've got with me actually here, I don't want to obviously just talk over you, I'm sorry, a quiz that I think we should probably do first, because otherwise I'll give all the answers and what we're probably going to talk about.
Potential spoilers. I mean, I don't know how well I'm going to do at this quiz exactly, although I do like horror and slashers. I'm nowhere near vastly educated on them. I just check them out on occasion and enjoy what I like.
I'll be honest, I tried to keep them because they're answers I knew without having to research, so I tried to keep them to films that I know you've seen, so there's no questions on the aforementioned English horror Fright, because I knew you haven't seen it. But we can begin if you want.
Sure, let us begin, and insert sound effect here if I find it. I am ready as I will ever be.
You are ready. There's 10 questions, but there is a possible 17 points because there are some bonus questions or follow-ups, as it were. The first one I may have already ruined, which is why I suggested we do this now.
Right.
Question number 1. Halloween was released in which year?
Do you know what? I kind of totally blanked there, but I'm tempted to say 78.
You're exactly right, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had literally just said it, sadly. So that's why I think we should...
I mean, I kind of knew that anyway, because I usually watch Halloween at least once a year.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to keep them kind of easy. There are some awkward ones here. This one's a little... I know you've not seen it, but it's very popular. So question number 2. Most people know Norman Bates dresses as his mother to kill people. Spoilers. Because of multiple personality disorder, which they wrongly get actually in the movie. They say it was schizophrenia. It's not, but we'll go with that. But what actually happened to his mother?
Ah, right. I actually have not seen Psycho.
It's it's sort of well known. So I'd hoped that even if it was an educated guess, you might get it.
I mean, I know she's dead. Because there's I know the famous scene of her being in the chair and being turned around. I don't know why she's dead.
I don't know if you want to have a stab or...
She was stabbed?
Oh. No. Well, the answer I was going for was Norman killed her.
Okay.
So Norman was the murderer. There is a bonus point on this one. How did he kill her? And it's not stabbed. This one I knew you might not get, to be honest.
Loving her too much.
I said, you know what? You're kind of right. I want to give you half a point, maybe, but it was poison. But the reason why he did it was because she fell in love with a man, and he didn't want her to because he loved her too much. So you can have half a point.
Oh, fair enough.
So 1.5 so far, which is really, that would be half marks. That's really good.
Nice.
Now on to one I know you've definitely seen. Tina, Rod, Nancy, and Paul are all stalked by Freddy Krueger in A Nightmare on Elm Street. But which of the 4 died first?
Ooh, right. I'm gonna guess. I'm probably gonna be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen the first one. I'm gonna guess Tina.
You're absolutely right.
Oh, phew.
Tina, nice. In fact, it's quite odd because I didn't want to count the end where they're all alive again, and it suggests like many different things, which we'll probably go into.
My interpretation is still that they're all dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Except somehow Nancy, who appears in part 3, but we'll get to that. Question number 4. Okay, I'm gonna have to. This is a quote, actually. Even in hell, your torment will be legendary. Who said this?
Okay, I don't know if he classes as a slasher villain, but that's Pinhead, otherwise known as Lead Cenobite or Priest.
You're exactly right on that one as well. So far, my goodness, you're doing okay. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 3.5 out of a possible 5. Nice.
I'm a big fan of Hellraiser.
Well, Hellraiser is one of those funny ones. It's very hard to define actually what a slasher is, which again we'll go into probably because I know the format.
Yeah.
But it follows a lot of them in the first one especially. So I'll say that it classes kind of for now. Right, so Jason Voorhees and his kooky mother terrorized the affectionately named Camp Blood. But what's the camp's real name?
As in reality, or what it was called in the series?
Oh, in the movie. It's
Crystal Lake.
Yeah, of course. So that's another point to yourself. You're going to have to keep track because I'm forgetting.
Okay, I'm not sure.
At the moment, actually, I'll get it now for you. 3.5 out of 6.
Not bad.
Nice. Right, this one is... it's alright. It's quite a hard one, I suppose. So, Leatherface, Pinhead, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger all have a movie franchise. But in the first movie of each franchise, which of these characters has the most on-screen murders?
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very interesting when you consider Jason, since, spoilers, he's not actually the villain in the first one.
You got that one straight away then, so... But he's usually the one that kills loads in all of his movies.
Oh, yeah. It's just the first one's a bit of a different beast.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
And we're not counting the end of Nightmare because that's still up for debate.
Okay. I'm still probably going to say Nightmare, though it's probably wrong.
It is, sadly. It is Michael Myers. Do you know how many he kills on screen?
Let me think.
This is for a bonus point.
Okay, let me think. There's her, him, her, that guy who was a truck driver but you didn't actually see killed but was pretty dead.
It's not an on-screen murder technically though, that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to say like 5.
Oh, you're very close. It was 4.
Oh.
That's how little it's mad when you think about it.
Does it include the dog?
Again, okay, it's 5 with the dog. I'm going to let you have that.
Right.
Actually, yeah, I didn't think of the dog.
Even so, it's not a lot.
It's not really, is it? And for, I suppose, 5 bonus points, name them. You got the dog. Actually, what was the dog's name? I know it.
I don't remember.
It was Lester.
I mean, I like Halloween, but they're, apart from like Laurie, of course, they're not terribly memorable. At least I don't remember that chick's name so much as other aspects.
Well, I can give you them if you want.
Go ahead.
You're doing all right, to be fair. So on that one, you got a couple. The names of the people he kills. Well, obviously you've got Lester the dog, Judith his sister.
Oh, fucking hell, of course.
And obviously Laurie's friends Annie and Linda.
Annie, yeah.
But also Linda's boyfriend Bob. But that's all. That's literally mad when you think about it. Okay, this one's not too bad. It's what is Chucky's real name?
Oh, it's Charles Lee Ray.
That's the one. Yes, of course it is.
It's another film. I've not actually seen much of that series. I've seen like the first 3, I think.
They're the only ones worth seeing, to be honest.
But it's one of those films. Just to very quickly digress, I know you got a quiz going on.
It's alright.
It's one of those things where I was horrifically traumatized by Child's Play as a young child, to the point where I developed like a bit of a doll phobia. But it's one of those films I kind of love watching now as an adult.
Yeah, no, it's such a good. Especially, I really like part 2 with Jenny Agutter.
Yeah, I saw part 2 in the cinema, like on a Halloween film night. It was awesome.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh yes, I remember the all-nighters.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, question number 8 actually. In Freddy's Dead, what is Freddy Krueger doing as he's listing the many ways people have tried to kill him?
He's cutting off his fingers.
Yes, indeed. I was going to ask which finger does he stick up while saying they even tried holy water.
I'm going to guess the middle one.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So there's another one already. This one I know you have not seen, but you might know, if you know what I mean. So, what is
cultural thing?
Oh, kind of, but I think I've mentioned it a lot as well. So, what is the killer's apparent name from Black Christmas?
Oh, apparent name.
He's never outright named, but he says a name quite a lot in it. Unless you watch the remake.
Do you know? I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine. You've not seen it. I know that. It's Billy. He keeps sort of making these. It's a very unnerving. It's a good movie, by the way. Highly recommend it.
I know. I've heard it's good. I've not seen either version.
I've not seen the remake, and I don't want to. Sadly.
I might be thinking of another shitty remake, but I think like the modern one has the quote unquote modern one. I think the remake has a weird incest subplot.
I think it does. Like he's locked in a wall and all this sort of shit. Apparently, you do see him a lot in it. Where in the original, and this isn't a spoiler even slightly, it makes the movie amazing. You don't see him. You see bits of him. You see like even his eye and that.
A bit like how the remake of Halloween. It's so much better having so much known about Michael and having him so annoying.
I know. A little whiny. Anyway, right. This one's quite an interesting one. Now, I'm not sure if you'll get them. This is more just to kind of, I don't know, talk about a little bit. But name a Nightmare on Elm Street TV spin-off series.
Freddy's Nightmares.
You got that one. Bonus question. Another famous slasher genre franchise also had a TV series.
Friday the 13th.
Oh yes, you got that one. I'm very impressed with you on that. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've heard it was kind of an anthology sort of thing.
It's bizarre, yeah. Like there is no mention. I think Crystal Lake gets mentioned once, but it's set in an antique store. It's weird. I used to watch it, hoping that Jason would appear. Never ever did, sadly.
Oh.
God, you did quite well there. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll give you the dog. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5 out of 17.
Not terrible.
That's not terrible at all. When a lot of them would literally just to talk about rather than make you get them. But that was quite well done. Nice. I'll give you a round of applause on that one.
Yay! I lost my round of applause sound button. Oh well.
Oh.
Insert it in post here. Oh, I have that one somewhere. I didn't think I'd put it on though.
Oh dear. Slasher horror movies, they're a massive part, sadly, of my life. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you grow totally well adjusted.
Yeah, I only killed that boy, but I probably shouldn't say that. But yeah, I don't know, because I know I mentioned a little while back about the movie Fright. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you managed to see it at all.
Not yet. I think I had a brief look for it, but
it's really hard. I honestly thought it might be on YouTube, but I know the only copy we've got is a quote-unquote DVD, non-original, as it were, but you can't get it anywhere. So it's like, well,
after you were talking about doing this topic, like it was suggested, I thought I'd check out Netflix and Amazon for slasher films. Surprisingly, not many.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of horror, but like not so much slasher.
You notice most of the like modern horror is based on ghosts and
Yes, someone actually pointed that out the day in like a film review I was watching, that a lot of modern horror seems to be more down the paranormal route rather than like the psycho killer.
yeah, it's odd. I mean, if that's what you like, I suppose it's kind of cool. But I'll be honest with you, like the last, you're probably going to mention it actually. The last good slasher horror movie I saw was that one that I think you were about to mention even, and it was really good. Like,
Hush.
that's the one. Yeah, it's surprisingly good, and
By the way,
definitely a slasher.
that was the only one I found on Netflix which you could probably comfortably call a slasher, and even then it's kind of borderline.
Well, I suppose, but the format's all there when you think about it. She's the final girl, despite the fact she's the one that stalked her the whole thing, and she's the one that overcomes the killer as well. The annoying thing about it is you should never, spoilers, take off his mask.
You know, spoilers, the main character's deaf.
Yeah.
So to be honest, he kind of had to take off his mask in order to menace and threaten her with his lips.
Yeah, that's true as well. And I think this is just my own. I'm setting my own ways.
I mean, maybe if you had like a half mask or something, or.
Yeah, no, I think they handled it quite well, to be honest with you, and they didn't trivialize the fact she was deaf in it. Like, they don't even overpower her. You know what I mean? She's deaf, so she must be good at other things. No, she is the victim, and more so because she's deaf. In that situation, she would be, and I think it's done well.
She's not stupid though, which is the biggest trope in horror I absolutely fucking hate. Is people just being really illogical and stupid about their situation. She isn't.
In fact, she does pretty much throughout the whole movie what I would do in that situation.
Yeah, like even when
with
it's...
hearing.
I mean, I'm not going to go too much into the plot, but even at the end, when she's like going through in her head, like the way things could swing if she does certain actions from this point.
Oh, honestly, I really enjoyed it. I suppose, without shilling too much, the main reason why I decided that we should do this as a show was because I am actually writing my own movie. I'm not going to go into it at all, don't worry. But from that, I've been watching a lot as well, and it's got me like massively in the mood, especially with Halloween kind of coming soon as well.
Can't wait.
And I really can't wait for the future, because apparently another Halloween movie is coming out, and another Nightmare is coming out. But I don't know if it's a sequel to the remake Nightmare, because my god.
What, child molester Freddy?
Yeah, I was watching another YouTuber not long ago, and some of his videos were alright because he does things you might not know about Michael Myers and Jason. Then he does Freddy, and he goes on about Freddy being. It's alluded that Freddy Krueger is a child molester, and it's like he's not even slightly. He's a child murderer.
Yeah,
that's the point. Like, what's so?
It seems to be the thing. I don't know if it's just because this is often the case in reality, but people seem to immediately sort of link child murder with, child molestation.
No, for him it was vengeance.
I know. I mean, especially if you consider the whole series canon. In Freddy's Dead, it pretty much spells out why he does what he does.
Yeah. Even in the first one, there was no clear-cut reason he was killed. Because he was killing kids, but why was he killing kids? That didn't matter.
He was just a murderer.
Yeah. There was a couple of decent facts in that, though, that I never noticed before, but apparently the original Freddy Krueger, I've forgotten the actor's name, but was going to be played by someone else, that guy out of Titanic you met.
Oh, David Warner, yes.
Yeah, and he was actually supposed to just be a really old-looking, creepy man. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad, and I love David Warner, I do, but I'm glad they went with Robert Englund and Burns. It just works better.
I am kind of curious to see how they would have done it.
There's a screenshot of David Warner in makeup, actually.
Yeah, he's got David Warner's one of those guys who can kind of project a really sort of dark gravitas when he wants to.
He's got an amazing voice.
Yeah, just sort of a presence. Very nice guy though. I mean, I know people at cons usually have to be nice anyway, unless you're Lou Ferrigno. But
I've met a few myself, to be honest with you. No, I'm not going to name them because I'm hoping the fans of those people still like them. I don't want to ruin their reputation either.
Yeah.
But I've been let down before.
I mean, I haven't met Lou Ferrigno for the record, but I've heard stories. Apparently, he doesn't give a shit. He's there purely for like money and because he has to be due to the contracts.
Yeah. One person actually, which is quite relevant, sort of. It's not a slasher. I did meet in London, but never got to speak to, sadly. Which is George Romero.
Oh, I know. Rest in peace.
May rest in peace. Yeah, definitely. And another one, I think it's prudent to mention, again, it's not slasher, but it's very important to, movie in general. Haruo Nakajima died recently, the original Godzilla.
I wouldn't class Godzilla, I wouldn't call Godzilla a slasher, but I would definitely consider Gojira a horror movie.
It's one of the most bleak and beautifully made movies of all time.
It's very bleak, and just in concept, it's kind of fucking horrifying because it alludes to real-life horror. Like shit that happened in history.
And that could happen again.
Yeah, especially the way the fucking world seems to be going right now.
I've been reading some of it as well, it's terrifying. But yeah, again, just to even kind of get back to slashers and that as well, I even had to study horror at university. And I remember, this is just a neat little thing, I remember doing the movie Halloween, because I'm absolutely in love with it. If you've noticed, I don't know.
I've never heard you mention Halloween, like, ever.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. But I did the movie Halloween, and I got advised not to, because you need to know your stuff. The only one movie that you should not do more than Halloween is Psycho, because everybody knows everything about those movies.
To be fair, I probably know a good deal about Psycho, and I've never even seen it, just because I know a lot of background and inspirations.
Exactly. But I remember reading some of the theories and that, and I don't know if these are interesting to you. I mean, you can't stop me, I promise. But a lot of slasher, they do what the remakes have done to Freddy and turned it into a sexual thing. Like, especially Halloween being probably one of the first. It's the first movie to come out and define the genre. Apparently the knife then turns into the penis. And it's like, well, it wasn't sexual, for one. And this is in the sequel. Laurie's his sister. You know, he's trying to stab her. Like, Laurie also uses the knife on Michael, and these are all in the theories as well. So that she becomes masculine at that point.
Is that Laurie's Freudian penis envy personified in the blade?
That's honestly right. Yeah, that's what they said.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, well, no, it's a guy in a suit killing teenagers, and this is the kicker of the whole thing, because I'm a bit of a git, and I get things done sometimes. I actually got to interview, very, very briefly, John Carpenter.
Nice.
And included it in my essay, where I quoted all that. I did everything by the books, and then said, but it's wrong, and here's a quote, original quote by John Carpenter, and put it in, cited it, sent it to the lecturers, come back with 100%. It was great. So he even did me a promo for the radio show I used to do.
I remember that, yeah.
I love... That man, he's involved in the Halloween that's coming out, actually.
Yeah, I've heard he's involved in something else as well coming out soon, I think. I'm not sure what it was.
There's a couple of movies I'm yet to actually see. I've seen parts of They Live.
I actually watched They Live for the first time in full not too long ago. It's alright.
It's alright, but that theme gets right in your nerves.
Yeah.
Sorry, John. He's good with his music, but I think on that one he was just phoning it in a little bit. Mm-hmm. And is it Roddy Piper?
Yeah, the wrestler who's also dead now.
He's not a terribly good actor though.
Do you know what? He's kind of okay, because to be honest, imagine them casting some other sort of beefcake actor like Arnie in it. Probably wouldn't have been much more of an actor, like a theatrical performance. So
that's true.
Do you know what? He kind of works for it.
But you can't talk about slasher without thinking of John Carpenter though as well. I mean, he even does. Can you call it a slasher though? The Thing.
I wouldn't necessarily, but it is one of my favorite horrors and movies in general.
Yeah, it's beautifully done, but it fits the format quite a lot, but not enough. It's weird. And by format, I mean, you know this. I don't want to bore you too much as well, but it's the whole final girl. There's a equilibrium, the problem, which is this killer that's going around doing a thing, and then this one person that define like everything that happens, and then actually pursues the killer who is pursuing them, and that's the turning point. And that's all a slasher is. No offense to the genre in general, because I love it. It is trash.
Yeah.
But it's fun. You know what I mean? And that's why I want to make one. Like, damn.
Do you think Alien could kind of fit into that as well?
You really could. Sigourney Weaver's Ripley is a final girl completely.
Mm-hmm.
There's odd ones. They tend to be girls. That's why it's called the final girl. But look at Evil Dead.
Yeah.
That's a slasher in every term of the thing, except he's a bloke. But again, that's Sam Raimi, though, isn't it? Like.
Yeah.
But it's a weird genre because there's no real rules except one character has to try and turn the tables, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But they're fun, and they get such a bad rap, I think.
They do, but I suppose they get a bad rap in two ways. There's the film criticism route where people just can't seem to enjoy dumb fun.
Yeah.
And then there's the worst kind of criticism of all time, the fucking moral outrage route.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, I suppose you could say there's that third one as well, that wants to turn everything into a penis.
Oh, well, it's just idiocy.
That adds to the sort of criticisms, in my opinion. That makes people think, well, this is just a weird genre for perverts, and it's really not.
No, though, to be fair, it's probably the main subgenre besides pornography you're most likely to see tits in.
Well, yeah, that's true, and that's mostly because of bloody Friday the 13th as well.
Although that's very much kind of on the slockier, cheap end of it, so they're not all like that.
Yeah. And another one as well, like everyone thinks of slasher, they think blood, gore, all that sort of thing. There's very little blood in a slasher horror movie. You look at the first Halloween movie, there is no blood at all.
Yeah, I was just trying to think that. I don't recall seeing any bloody scene in that.
And, you know, he does stab a knife in a lot of people. I think you see blood on Judith when she falls down, ironically topless, so... Damn it.
Right, okay, I'm not going to make this a political or, gender statement or whatever, but, it's the human body. Fucking get over it, people.
Well, it is, and the point is, especially in Halloween, which again, we always go back to because it's the first one technically, Judith sat in her room comfortable. She's naked, comfortable, and then all of a sudden, this thing happens to her, making her very uncomfortable and dead.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? It's like, we've entered her room. That's her room, and it's point of view as well. Mm-hmm. So it's an uncomfortable scene, especially in 1978.
Oh, yeah.
And there's not one cut in the whole thing. It's amazingly shot. There's not many like that one, though, as well. Because, I mean, it's such a low-budget movie. Mm-hmm. And you can see it in parts, but it's probably the one that most people remember as well.
With good reason. I mean, I do actually really enjoy Halloween 2 as well. It's one I watch semi-regular, but it's nowhere near as kind of good and innovative. Halloween 2 is much more of like the typical derivative slasher than the first one is.
Oh yeah. Which
for some people might be a bit of a letdown, but to be honest, it's not for me because I still enjoy the film and it's still got good moments in it.
Yeah, well, I think you've pointed one of the scenes out where you see him on the monitors.
Yeah, that's creepy as fuck. I mean,
great, isn't it?
Hospitals, if you have played the Silent Hill game, like I just finished the first one recently on YouTube. Yeah, hospitals are creepy anyway, and throwing a monster or a killer in it's just so much worse.
I mean, again, we're going on about the slasher as a movie. It's expanded. It's become comics. It's become, like you say, games. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can kind of class Silent Hill as a bit of a slasher, I suppose.
I mean,
there is one main villain, but
possibly two because there's a recurring villain.
Yeah.
Actually, fuck
but there are slasher
4. I mean, I know you've not completely played through 4 yet, but that's probably the closest you could call a Silent Hill film to a game to a slasher.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But we will get to that game because I don't want to spoil too much of it.
But yeah, actually, do check that out as well. It's a really good... I was looking back at it not long ago, and my god, like, not to toot our own horns, it's really fun. Like, give it a look. Toot. But there are games, though. Like, they've actually recently done the Friday the 13th game, which is good. It's multiplayer online only at the moment, but apparently it's getting a one-player thing.
And hell, depending on what Mortal Kombat you boot up, you can be Jason, Freddy, Leatherface.
Alien.
Alien, yeah.
I'll be honest with you, one of the best slasher horror movie games I've ever played, horror games I've ever played, is probably Manhunt.
Oh, yeah, I've got that. Fuck me, is that a dark game?
It is a slasher though, like, except you play the role of the slasher.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you've not seen this yet, at least last I checked with you. The Purge Anarchy, the second one.
Not yet.
That, I actually think that is genuinely a really enjoyable film. To me, if I was to describe it, I would say it was like Manhunt the movie.
That's pretty
cool. Because it's got that a very similar kind of nihilism to it. Oh
man, I mean, none of the characters in it are likable at all.
They're all likable characters in The Purge, but it's only like 3 of them.
And they died. I don't know. I've not seen it.
I'm not going to spoil it.
I will watch it actually. But I mean, even we're on about other mediums that they take. I'm stood next to a load of comics because I'm cool with Halloween.
So am I.
Yeah.
Actually,
I've even got my Freddy vs. Jason versus Ashes. But it's a fun genre, and the community is so nice. Like, when you go, there's horror conventions that go around a bit like Comic Cons. And I'll be honest with you, I have more fun at a horror con than I do at a Comic Con. And I like comics, I really do.
To be honest, I would probably prefer that too.
Yeah, but they're just likable. Like, for some reason, the people seem a bit more... It's more of a community, it's weird.
Well, it's because people who usually watch horrors kind of just treat them as they're supposed to be. Like, they're dark, but, you know, they're just supposed to be fun and an experience and a thrill ride.
I think one of my lecturers pointed out he went to see... It was, it was the one with Leatherface.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I don't like that one much, but it's one of them, so you can't help but mention it. But when Leatherface appears, apparently when he was sat in the audience in a theatre when it was on, they were all cheering and he couldn't understand why, because he's the bad guy. But look at likes of Freddy and even Jason and that, they become the sort of the one you root for in the end.
Well, they're the mascot.
Exactly, and it's not that you want a murderer to succeed, it's just that you're kind of touching on a very dangerous subject, but in a safe way.
Like, it's not like you're watching an Aliens movie and then when the aliens come on screen, like, oh fuck, not these guys.
Exactly, right? They're the interesting part of the movie, so you want to see more of them.
They're the reason you're watching it.
Exactly. But again, I think it's honestly like, I'm one of those weird people that likes to think about death a little bit, but not too much. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those, I want to sit and dwell on death, but
I'm not
going to
go really deep into it, but I'm a bit of a morbid fuck, so never mind.
Yeah, but it's a subject, though, that's fun to touch. It's not fun to be part of, you know what I mean? And that's what a slasher does. It helps you, you're a voyeur, as it were, especially in the first Halloween, you're getting its point of view, not on the actual subject. I think that's another reason why slashers work, because there's so much horrible things that go on.
Oh, yeah.
That it's nice to see it in a fun way as well. It's like trivializing it in some way so that it's more digestible.
One slasher which I think is kind of borderline in that respect is probably The Town That Dreaded Sundown, in just that a lot of it's heavily based on actual, like, unsolved murders.
I saw a documentary on that not long ago, and do you know what? I liked that movie, the original, and the remake even. The remake, ironically, was a movie that had in it a showing of the original movie, and I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't, but honestly I remember seeing the trailer and actually thought it looked pretty decent.
It really is good, and I felt guilty for it after watching this documentary, because obviously it was filmed in this area where this happened, and this person is still out there maybe.
Can you imagine what it'd be like for, you know, the surviving family members now, having like that fucking annual tradition of that movie, I mean, not exactly, but essentially recreating the murderers of their teenage loved ones.
Well, exactly, and it kind of, again, as much as I do like the movies, I can't help feeling a bit guilty, especially the remake. That really is on the nose, because that's during one of those traditions.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa. That's pushing it a bit.
I mean, most slasher films and horrors in general don't do that. Honestly, that's the only sort of example that immediately comes to my mind. I know there's going to be others, but that's the main one.
Yeah, it always reminds me a little bit of that. I've only seen the remake, ironically, and it's My Bloody Valentine.
Oh yes, I've seen neither.
The remake's okay.
Jensen Ackles is in that, isn't he?
Yes,
Oh fuck, I remember because they were promoting it. It was in 3D.
Yeah, I've got the 3D version as well. Oh dear. It was cheap though, so. But honestly, it's enjoyable. It's a good typical slasher horror movie. It doesn't try to get too big for its boots. Like, you want that sometimes, and we've got nothing like that at the moment.
Yeah, the slasher killer, like as you said earlier, it's kind of really seemed to have died down a bit. Like, it's more paranormal or, ghosts. Well, ghosts are paranormal and remake shit. And I mean, the main horror which is out right now is probably, you've got It, which has just come out, and Annabelle Creation, which weirdly I've heard is not bad, despite the fact the original's terrible.
No, I've heard it's actually quite good. Like, I might see it. I actually might see It, which, can you define that as a slasher? Maybe, I don't know. That one's an odd one.
I don't know. I mean, if it resembles kind of the original story, which I remember a bit more of, it's
no.
Well, like a lot of Stephen King, it just kind of seems to devolve into weirdness, and weirdly doesn't fit in a particular box when you think of it.
I was trying to describe, because I've seen the original, which was a 3-part movie that was a series that was put together, and I've read the book, and the book and the movie have a very similar ending. I don't want to ruin it too much because the remake is coming out, but it's really shit. I really hope they change the ending. Like,
yeah.
As much as you might love Stephen King, you have to admit he doesn't know how to end a book. He had such a good character and such a good build-up to this thing that pitted out into just absurdity. Completely. One of the best things he ever did was Cujo.
Oh yes, I've not actually seen that.
That's getting a remake as well. And apparently, I think that people are up in arms about it because his name's now an acronym for something else, and I can't remember what it is.
Oh, who gives a shit?
Yeah. But no, it's like a pathetic acronym though. I remember saying it meant something instead, so Cujo might actually be a person instead of a dog. So you're just making a different movie then instead of
so it's not
a remake.
Cujo.
Well, I can't remember, so I don't want to comment too much, but it's something like that. Another one that we keep going on about actually as well, what would you say Hannibal was, or Silence of the Lambs?
Silence of the Lambs. That's kind of a funny one because it's arguably horror, like especially the film Silence of the Lambs. It doesn't necessarily fit into other ones. I mean, there is a killer, but he's not really stalking the main character. In fact, the main character is trying to hunt him down
the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, there's another killer as well, but he doesn't really kill people until near the end.
And he's the main villain when you actually think about it. He was
essentially the main character. I mean, it's definitely horror. I'm just not sure where I'd stick it in. I mean, psychological, I suppose, especially if you go the series route. Psychological
thriller, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, and one I keep going back to it because it did start it off, I suppose. But Fright. Definitely check it out.
I mean, I'll have a look for it, as I said, and find a whole lot on Netflix or surprisingly Amazon Prime either. It's not exactly slasher, but I started watching American Horror Story out of interest, and I actually fucking love that show.
It's really good. It's really good. Actually, there's one thing I'm surprised you didn't watch when you were checking out slashers, and it's a franchise we haven't mentioned too much, which was Scream, which would have got you another bonus point, I guess.
Probably, but I don't have the fondest memories of Scream. I remember the first one being alright. I've just never really thought to check out the series.
I actually like the series more, I'll be honest with you. The first movie's good, but...
No, I can believe that. I mean, to go back to Hannibal, I do think, Red Dragon, Manhunter, and Silence of the Lambs, they are really good films, especially Silence. It's another one of my favourites. But I also like the series better.
Oh, I like the series better, definitely. I don't know, another series I've not seen yet, but I really want to, is Scream Queens.
Me too, and that's just partly because I'm mildly obsessed with Emma Roberts, but I've heard it's good.
I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is even in that one, so I think there's a lot of slasher horror.
There's a really cool cast. Like, I had a look through some of the IMDb for Scream Queens, and just about every kind of screenshot from it, like, features, like, I think Jenny Agutter's in there somewhere.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, there's just loads of sort of little flashbacks for that.
That's one weird thing. I'm not sure what actually happened to it. We just mentioned Jenny Agutter got me onto Chucky again.
Yeah.
I heard that the original Chucky lot were making another sequel, and then at the same time the remake came out, and I've seen neither, and I've not seen advertising for either. So I don't know what's happened with that. I just hope Brad Dourif does it, if they are doing one still, or if it's out.
Kind of love Brad Dourif, actually. He's one of those actors you don't really think of, though, like, ever, until you see him. It's like, oh yeah, that guy exists. He's cool.
And he's great, yeah. I remember watching the remake Halloween, and I was really surprised that they've got, the guy from Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
He's a really unlikable character in that, who gets killed for his boiler suit, as every character in it. And then, of course, Brad Dourif just appears as the town sheriff, and it's like, well, hang on, you've got a great cast. You've even got Malcolm
McDowell, yeah.
McDowell, and yet the movie is just, it's awful.
Honestly,
and then the sequel.
Yeah, the sequel's somehow worse.
You think, yeah, Brad Dourif, right, cool. Even the guy with Dawn of the Dead, despite the character being so shite. Then the second one, they get Weird Al playing himself, and does that not just kind of define...
That was so fucking weird.
Yeah.
It came from, like, nowhere, went nowhere. It was just a really odd diversion.
I mean...
Not that the film was holding my interest by any means.
And it has the immortal line, cow. So,
when I'm on the road, I can... That's...
Every time I say cow. Right?
Cow!
It's just how horribly stupid it is. Like, you know what it is? I actually heard a couple of things about that sequel.
Yeah.
He didn't want it to be that way, and nobody wanted it to be that way, but they made it that way, and I honestly think, and this is just my opinion, because he wanted his fucking wife in the movie. So let's make it about his wife's mother's ghost appearing.
I think he puts her in just about everything.
But there was no need for it. Fucking Laurie and Michael sharing a consciousness and seeing his wife floating about with a horse.
There's no need for a lot of that movie.
I don't know. That's another thing. Like, again, in other mediums, you've got remakes. They are always shit. Like, just don't do that.
Majority of the time, yes. I mean, before anyone fucking points out, yes, the John Carpenter's The Thing was sort of a remake.
It was, but it's also not a slasher, I suppose.
But then its other remake / prequel is even worse, so forget that.
I know. And then you go to parodies, and some of them are okay, I suppose. You've got your likes of Scary Movie.
That was the big one when I was younger, and I've seen a few of those. I haven't seen like all of them. I
think I've seen 1 through to 4 or 5.
To be honest, I mean, none of them are great, but the kind of enjoyability quality just kind of goes on a really like quick down slope from 1 onwards.
Yeah.
I've weirdly seen 3 more than once, and I don't know why. It's one of those weird films which I can't say I think's good or I particularly enjoy that much, but I'll still watch if it's on for no apparent reason.
It's another one. It's dumb fun, and when it's on, it gives you a giggle. But that's the last one, I think, that was that way. And I'm talking about date movie, all of them as well. They all just become a format, and it's bad. But there's other ones though, like parodies I've seen actually. Like I Know What You Did Last Halloween.
I think I've seen a clip of that. Is it kind of low budget?
It's quite low budget, and there's another one that I'm pretty sure was probably made by the people that have made the later Scary Movies, but Stan Helsing.
Oh, I heard that.
That one, my God, it's awful. Those sort of movies have degraded now into just, let's have characters that are already known from other franchises sing rap songs.
Yeah, for fuck's sake.
That's it. I think they actually have a dance-off at the end with Pinhead and Freddy in that.
We're actually missing a really good example of like a really good comedy based on horror tropes. Tugger and Dale versus Evil.
I love that.
That is a great fucking movie.
That's probably the best parody of a slasher movie.
It really does play with the tropes, especially like the sort of evil hillbilly, Texas Chainsaw kind of thing.
Yeah. And even like one of the tropes of a slasher horror movie is there's always a man in it that is sort of heroic, but it turns out the woman was always the hero in it.
Yeah. And the guy who thinks he's, spoilers, the guy who thinks he's being the heroic one's the villain.
Yeah, it's so well done. I love it. It's the beginning bits, like just the hits, like where they're looking at them in slow motion. Hillbillies, go over there with your scythe and all that.
The really sinister looking hillbillies, like especially the larger guy, but he's like the nicest, most timid guy on earth.
His dog.
Yeah.
It's that one's definitely worth checking out. And everyone probably likes Scary Movie. I like Scary Movie. That's better.
Oh yeah. I mean, Scary Movie can be fun, but it's pretty much the referential, stupid, over-the-top comedy thing. Whereas, Tucker and Dale's also kind of over-the-top, but it's kind of written well, and like it's genuinely smart plot.
It is quite funny. I actually there was one I've seen, but I've not seen since being a child, because I'm cool. My parents literally put on Halloween to put me to sleep when I was 1, so that's how cool I am. But the parody I saw was Saturday the 14th, and I remember loving it as a kid, but I've never seen it like as an adult, and I just can't get it anywhere.
It's probably one of those things that was never even released on DVD.
I actually remember seeing it, and this is aging me a little bit, on Betamax.
Oh wow! I never even had a Betamax, so there you go.
I remember having the original Thriller music video on Betamax. God, I'm old.
One of the most over-referenced things ever.
Yeah, it is very good, mind you.
I mean, we were at the gym the other day, and there was a fucking modern dance thing with David Guetta, who in the fucking video was referencing Thriller as loads of fucking songs do.
Yeah, no, it's mostly just the leather jacket or the dances and that, isn't it?
If there's zombies.
And even having Vincent Price, that actual line is used on loads of things, and it's like you've literally just taken it out of Thriller.
Yeah.
It's not clever. You're just taking it out. Man.
Very much in the Halloween mood.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's much more we can go on about slashers. It's just one of those things. It's kind of fun to talk about, and it would be nice to do more shows based on things like
subgenres.
I think because we tried to do one ages ago now on was it a specific movie?
I'm trying to think. I know an idea was to do a zombie themed show, which never quite came together, despite the fact I actually did a fuck ton of research for it. Who knows? We could do that again in future, especially with the sad passing of Romero and all that.
You know what? That's a good idea. We could do that next week.
Night of the Living Dead is. I know some people disagree. Night of the Living Dead is my favorite of the Dead trilogy, and that is one of those films I will watch pretty much every Halloween because.
Yeah.
I just have kind of memories of when I was a lot younger seeing it for the first time. I don't know if it's just the black and white or the fact I kind of watched it alone in the dark.
Yeah.
But I've got very fond memories of that creeping me the fuck out. Like, as simple as it is.
It's so bleak.
It's one I like to revisit.
I'm actually stood. I'm wearing one of my 4 Halloween shirts. But next to me is They're Coming to Get You, Barbara. I just bought a shirt because of George Romero.
Nice.
And it's got the first zombie you see on it.
The only thing I have which is vaguely related to George Romero t-shirt wise is the Creature feature Aim for the Head t-shirt I got.
Such a good song as well.
I've been listening to more Creature feature recently. They're fucking fantastic.
I'm proper in the mood for Halloween now, and that's why I wanted to hopefully get everyone else into it as well. I hope I haven't gone on a bit much. I do apologise.
You've gone on an adequate amount of much.
Nice.
Hell, I mean, if you want to talk about horrors, I mean, not now, of course, but in future, I mean, you could do different subgenres. Like, I think sci-fi horror would be a good one, because that's a very particular niche, and you can immediately pull some very specific examples for that.
Especially
Aliens, fucking even Event Horizon, which I remember seeing years ago, which...
I'll have to see that.
Yeah, and fucking what was that fucking John Carpenter one?
Oh, What They Live?
No, there was another one. I'm trying to think. It wasn't The Thing. I mean, The Thing is, you could probably call The Thing a sci-fi horror, because, Alien.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Dark Star.
Yes, that's it.
That's one of his first movies. It's great.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I've just kind of heard of it.
God, you try getting a copy of it. It's ridiculous.
mean, speaking of sci-fi horror, I've also been playing Dead Space recently.
Nice. No, I definitely agree, and it'd be nice to have your feedback, people. If you want us to do a show on certain themes, give us a shout. We're obviously into our horror, so... And B-movies might do one on that for you.
Bloody hell, I mean, I've had so many very interests over the years. I could talk about loads of shit. I could talk about martial arts. I could talk about Tomb Raider. We have actually talked about Tomb Raider for an episode once.
Yeah.
We could honestly do that again, because I think we've both actually caught up to the games now.
Oh, yes,
whereas at the time we didn't.
Nice.
No,
we'll definitely save that one for a show, actually. It's like an update.
Oh, yeah. I mean, kind of been playing a few retro games recently. Not to honk our own horns. Of course, I'm going to honk my own horn. But we both of us have been playing Crash Bandicoot recently as well, and been doing a little video series on that. Though it's a little slower than the other video series, just because it takes a bit more editing when you're counting how many times you die during a playthrough, which at the moment is a ridiculous amount. Spoilers.
I honestly forget how hard that game is. Like, I think we actually went a bit funny halfway through playing that.
We did. It got too much.
You've got to check it out, everyone. Do watch it.
Yeah, that one's on my channel at the moment, Monochrome. I mean, we've done a few. I mean, we're both play games. You do quite a bit of live streaming and.
Yeah, speaking of horror games, I do a lot, mostly horror games. I'm going to do a new one, actually. Not, again, just too much, but it's one I think you would have really enjoyed, Drew. It's Hellblade.
Oh, yes.
Senua's Revenge or something. My God, I'm not very far through that game, and normally I let you do a playthrough without having played it, but I really wanted to play this game. So I'm about maybe a quarter of the way through, because it's not very long.
Mm-hmm.
It's unnerving. It's really good. Like, I can't big it up more than the trailer. Probably, it's amazing. Oh, but I'm on edge all the time. Again, to even drag it back to the slashers thing, the last time I felt like that was when I played Manhunt 1 and 2 back to back. Like, I was nervous after that. I just wouldn't walk anywhere with shadows.
That sounds like a bleak period in your life.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I did them within the space of a week.
It'll be like when I first picked up Alien Isolation and played it for like almost solidly for 2 weeks.
Oh.
And I just, I was constantly looking at like desks thinking I could hide under that, or like vents in the ceiling thinking I don't want to walk under that because I don't know what's going to fucking jump through.
I started playing that again as well. It's just, I love that sort of game. Like, Christ, we could do a show on horror games. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Oh, definitely.
We played a lot of Outlast.
I mean, yeah, you've got horror games. I know you've been playing Resident Evil 7. You've been playing Outlast. I've been playing, at least on my channel so far, I've played all of the first Silent Hill, which is
so good.
One of my favourite games. Probably possibly my favourite of the whole series, to be honest.
Yeah, and his playthrough's really funny as well, in a good way. Like, no.
I don't know, like, I'm not the best player, which is why editing's a wonderful tool to use.
Oh, I don't know. He's better at it than I would be, definitely.
Put it this way, I think it might be one of my last couple of episodes, which I did when I was finishing off Silent Hill. The posted episode's about 40 minutes long. The recorded footage is nearer like an hour and a half.
Jeez.
Because I despite the fact I played the game like 4 fucking times, I still somehow managed to get lost.
It's one of them games, though, especially for PS1.
Yeah.
You can get lost. It's ridiculous.
Well, it is dark.
Go on.
It is dark, so I suppose you lose your way sometimes.
And foggy.
Yeah.
No, man, no. I've really enjoyed doing a show on slashers, so I hope you all enjoyed watching, listening as well, I suppose.
Yeah, and mentioned it earlier, if you saw the one a more modern one, which is really good, I totally recommend Hush.
Oh, 1,000,000%, yeah. I'm trying to think of any other modern ones.
That film especially, I mean, it was good all out, but especially when you get the second half, it gets really fucking tense. I found myself really engrossed in just the struggle towards the end.
Christ, I might watch that now. It's on Netflix still, so might give it a check out.
I'm probably going to watch Rick and Morty, because I think the next episode's on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's another one that parodies Freddy as well.
In the second episode as well, Scary Terry, which is one of the best parodies I've seen.
Oh, by far. Oh, it's so good. That's another thing, actually. Not tooting. It's kind of relevant. I've met a couple of the horror greats. I met the guy who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. I actually met Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund.
Oh, he's a wonderful guy.
He was so nice as well. Like, I remember seeing him and said, "Is this the hand?" I knew it was the hand. Shook it. It is. I get that a lot. It's fine. And when I was queuing up to see somebody else, he went to the bathroom, but he came out. He actually came up to me specifically because no one was around him for a while, and I talked to him.
Do I want to know where the story's going?
You what?
Do I really want to know where the story's going?
Oh yeah, no, he came back out from the bathroom, came up to me, shook my hand again, and said the scary thing about that one in the voice was I didn't wash my hands.
And then you licked it.
I sniffed it. Oh dear.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I've got no shame when it comes to that. So I'll just talk to people a lot, and especially at that time because I was doing the show, so I got them to do me promos, all sorts of things, and I think they liked it. Like, I wasn't just swooning, saying you are shit, or you know what I mean.
I've got a bit of, I wouldn't call it shame. I got a bit of nervousness when I talk to people like that at cons, but it's just so much. I don't really want to feel like I'm wasting their time. I had a bit of a chat with David Warner. He was fucking awesome. Probably Virginia Hayes, the one I've had like the longest chat with. To be honest, she wasn't too busy, so I didn't feel as bad talking to her about things.
They're the best ones, to be honest. I remember meeting Anthony Head, and the queue was ridiculous, so I didn't get to speak to him.
Yeah, I mean, Carl Weathers, I'm glad I met him, but that was really like, oh, hello, awesome to meet you, sign the thing, gone.
As long as he's not rushing you, you don't mind, you know what I mean? If
no, he wasn't. He was busy, but, it's not that he was mean, it's just the fact he was busy and there was a massive queue, and I felt bad because I think the fucking guy who went in front of me was some dickhead who was getting like fucking 10 things signed.
They're the worst.
Probably spent hundreds of fucking pounds doing it.
I was going to say, I know they're spending the money on that, but like, if you're sat there signing all these different things, going through your head immediately is you're selling this on. Yeah. You're a dick, just, you know what I mean? It's not a collection, it's not personal anymore, it's just money. They've become a product to this person.
Yeah.
It's horrible. I remember when I met Stan Lee as well, that you couldn't move. There was people who would spend, because it was 40 quid a pop, and there was this guy stood there for ages, and you were shifted as quickly as possible, so you must have spent nearly 400-500 quid on just autographs. But it's all to sell on.
Probably for his health, if nothing else. Fuck me, you guys ancient.
And I wouldn't mind. We queued 3 hours early, and we were number 1,300 and something or other in the queue. Poor guy, especially lately as well, actually. Not to go into too much bleakness, I suppose. Met a few people. I met Summer Glau. That was quite fun because it was busy, but when I met her it was quieting down, so I got to speak to her quite a bit.
That's cool.
I got a sweat on her. Jesus.
I don't think I want to know where this story's going either.
It was boiling and I was hammered on whiskey. Helen Slater, actually, as well, did the same.
It's been fucking ages since I've been to a con.
Same, but I might actually save it for HorrorCon.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe if I go to another one, probably one of those. I mean, part of the reason I haven't been to too many cons in recent years is just there's not been an awful lot I've been terribly interested in, like maybe one or two people, but on the most part, like, didn't really feel like it was worth my money. Yeah, there's loads of people going to Glasgow, and the only people I'm actually interested in are the two Marines from Aliens. It's like that one would be cool. I mean, it was it's Vasquez and her friend. Again, I'd probably just get her to sign my Titanic film cells like I did with David Warner, because she's in it for like 2 minutes. Yeah, but again, they like that sort of thing though, because you'll have any number of people get an Alien done. Oh, he did. He seemed quite chuffed with it. He was talking about how Leonardo DiCaprio was just such a nice fellow to work with. That's quite nice to hear, actually. Yeah. I'm glad. Well, I've had fun talking about slashers. I actually might watch Hush, because, my God, check it out, guys. It's really good. I might watch something at this time. I mean, I've got about an hour before I typically head to bed, so maybe not Hush, because I've just watched it. I've not seen Freddy vs. Jason in a while, and that's on there, so... My God, that's a good film, man. It gets pooped on, but it's so funny. My question is, if you're going to put on Freddy versus Jason, were you expecting high art or something?
Exactly.
What the fuck did you think it was going to be?
And it's sad that it's technically, in my eyes, the last Freddy film.
Yeah.
Because the remake, no.
I mean, there's Alien versus Predator, but that had like loads of faults.
Yeah, Freddy vs. Jason was true to both characters.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nifty seeing them fight. And again, I mentioned them earlier, actually, the comics Freddy vs. Jason versus Ash continues the second after that fight as well. It's so good.
That's cool.
They're hard to get hold of now, though, mind you.
I've not seen Evil Dead in a while, actually.
Oh, that's always worth a shout. I don't know if you can call it a slasher, but I want to talk about it. So, part 2, in my opinion. Everyone loves part 3, but part 2 is the one. Part
2 is the best. To be honest,
I don't know, there's something about it.
I think most people do consider part 2 the best, but I think more people may have seen part 3 just because it's weirdly out of genre.
It really is, and I suppose it's the one where, again, the comics, because I don't know if you guys all know this, but the Evil Dead comic series is a massive thing now with comic fandom. Like, he's met everyone, and it just continues off that pathos more than anything.
Yeah. I
suppose if this classed as a slasher horror movie, you could have said the Evil Dead TV series as well as an answer to the last question.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things.
I've got it, actually, series 1. I've seen series 2 as well. Definitely worth checking out.
Plus, Lucy Lawless is in my opinion, probably one of the best television actors.
Oh, definitely. She's great in that, so. But yeah, no, again, if you do like this, maybe like the video, comment, tell us what you want to hear. I might wrap this up a bit. You subscribe, that would be... Oh, come on, guys. We're going to make more.
I got 2 subscribers in the last week, which I know is absolutely nothing, but for me that's amazing. It's like I've almost caught up to my previous channel, which I had for like 7 years.
Nice.
I'll be honest with you. I've only had this one up a few months. I've almost... So, that was good. That's something.
I'll be perfectly honest, and I think you'll agree. If we have any comments at all, we will respond. I can guarantee you that now.
Weirdly, I've had people commenting on my old channel, which they never did.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, oh, cool. I like the newer stuff better. Go with the other one.
Check this out.
Yeah.
But again, I might wrap that one up. I don't know if there's much else you want to say.
Not without just devolving into more babbling. I think this is a good place to stop it for this evening.
I want to thank the lovely MonoDrew for having me again.
I'll have you any day, baby.
Oh, you will. With some Chianti.
Some fava beans.
Nice. But thank you very much for listening to my merry self.
Totally messed up that quote, but yes. Good listening to you.
Oh, good night, everyone.
You're not going to plug your channel? Okay.
Oh, you can plug my channel. Anyone can plug. Tune in to either, I have a number of them. Check the Cambrian YouTube channel. I'm also part of Team Magic Scrub, which is much more active at the moment with a lot of horror games, so check them out.
And I've already plugged my channel, plus if you're listening to this, you're listening on my channel, so check that out.
Subscribe to his channel, subscribe to mine, both of them, please, God.
I will love you possibly forever, but as I've said, I've recently changed my theological beliefs, so I'll love you as long as I live. At the very least.
Actually, do tune in to our, especially the Cambrian one. I'm going to be filming a lot more with the merry MonoDrew as well, hopefully.
I am very merry.
No, he's very merry.
Okay.
So good night.
Thanks for tuning in. Good night, folks.
Love you.